Alright, let's go over this one more time. My name is RaisorBlade. I review movies for a living, mainly animated ones, but every once in a while I'll take a break from that. That usually never goes well, however, unless that break revolves around an animated movie, in which case they do great. I also live stream every once in a while, I go hiking every once in a while. I'm one of like 10 people who still play Pokemon Go in his spare time. Here's my Shundo Pikachu with a flower tiara on it. My favorite bands are Sabaton and A Day to Remember, and I'm also planning an epic road trip across the country later this year. That actually might not happen because money's a thing and we live in a bogus capitalist society. If you've seen this movie already, you know what joke I'm making there. Ever since I was a kid, I loved Spider-Man. From playing Inter Electro on my PlayStation 1 to watching the Sam Raimi movies, I was hooked on Spider-Man. I even rocked out to that Aerosmith cover of the Spider-Man theme song. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. I bet you didn't even know that was a real thing. Even the video games were good. Inter Electro was good, Spider-Man 2, the movie tie-in game was good. Dude, tie-in games are never good. And this one was really, really good! In 2004, we got the greatest Spider-Man movie ever with Spider-Man 2. I thought we'd never get another Spider-Man movie as good as that one. But then, in 2018, we got Into the Spider-Verse. A movie that defied all expectations. The animation was stellar and revolutionary, the characters were all likable and relatable, the story was fun, the action was so imaginative and fluid, and on top of all that, it was from Sony. Sony of all people! They literally released the Emoji Movie just a year before. They went from releasing one of the most insulting, vile pieces of shit that insults the medium of animation almost right before releasing this. A movie that completely changes the game. It would have been enough for the animation alone, but they actually told a great story and had great characters and themes as well, which led to a genuinely rational fear. Could they live up to it? I mean, when you make a movie that is almost damn near perfect like Spider-Verse, it leads to very high expectations. So when they announced not just a sequel, but a trilogy where the second movie was going to be a part 1, that just screams ambitious. We've never even seen anything like this before, have we? An animated movie that ends with a cliffhanger that leads into the next film? Even the best animated trilogies like Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon didn't do this. Each movie was its own isolated story that didn't really connect to the previous or future installments, save for the development that the characters themselves go through. But in the world of animation, this is completely unheard of. Not to mention, it's 2 hours long. Most animated movies have a time limit of about an hour and a half because, well, kids are going to be watching and we don't want them to get bored now, do ya? Well, this movie says, fuck that. We got over 1,000 talented animators and we got a story that's so big it needs 2 parts. This movie in itself serves as a massive middle finger to everyone that said animation is for kids. If animation is ever going to be taken as seriously as live action, then it needs to start playing by the same rules. Now, with all that being said, it's definitely a high bar. You don't just revolutionize the medium of animation and then just go and do it again. But I trust Phil Lord and Chris Miller. These two have proven time and time again that they are just hands down 2 of the most talented people in animation in so long. But even if it doesn't live up to the hype the first movie created, then I don't think there's any shame in that. After all, how could you? How could you live up to the revolution that was Into the Spider-Verse? It's a very tough task. I think I'm just gonna do my best to just try and judge this movie on its own merits. And I believe we'll get a serviceable sequel nonetheless.
3 hours later.
Oh my god. This movie got me fucked up. How do you do it? How do you create the most revolutionary animated film since Toy Story and actually manage to surpass it in every single fundamental way? This is remarkable. I am absolutely shit-faced right now. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is somehow even better than its predecessor. Like, how do you do that? The way they managed to connect both stories from the first movie to this movie is just pure genius. From Miles' connection to the other Spider-Man, to the Spot and how he got his powers. I mean, I'm just baffled. They managed to make the Spot both a hilarious joke villain with one of the funniest connections to our main character I've ever heard, to one of the most menacing and powerful antagonists in any animated film. What was just a nothing background gag in the last movie now has thematic purpose in this movie. Like, are you kidding me? That joke actually meant something? The fight scenes with the Spot are just so visually stunning and just so imaginative. So many great gags as expected. Even with the one thing I was expecting this movie to be good at, I still was blown away by the animation. Imagine the first movie, but like 10 times better. The backgrounds, the various different uses of art styles. I mean, Vulture, Spider-Punk, the fucking PS4 Spider-Man. They're all there and they're so visually unique and striking. The fact that they all blend in as well as they do is just extraordinary. But this movie took it even further with all of the colors and the direction. Those scenes with Gwen and her father just had me so taken aback. How the colors just kept changing based on their mood with every single edit. It genuinely felt like an art house project or something. Not what you would expect from Spider-Man. And speaking of Spider-Man, all the little Easter eggs and pop culture references are actually implemented in a way that doesn't feel cheap or lazy. Like, they're not just throwing it in there because they can. They actually tie in to who Spider-Man is as a character in general. From Uncle Ben's death to Uncle Aaron again, these Easter eggs feel both like they serve a purpose, but also pay tribute to Spider-Man as a whole. Remember how I said in my No Way Home review that felt like a love letter to the Spider-Man movies? Well, this feels like a love letter to Spider-Man in its entirety, in every form of media, from the comics, to the movies, to the TV shows and video games. They even brought back J.K. Simmons to voice Jonah Jameson. The movie knew it would feel naked without him. I especially love what they did with Miguel O'Hara and how he's actually kind of a physical representation of all those idiots who keep saying that Miles isn't Spider-Man. Yeah, you know those people, you know who you are. How he keeps going on and on about the canon and telling Miles to his face that he can never join them and he was never supposed to be Spider-Man. In fact, this movie feels like a big middle finger to those idiots. I mean, think about it. Miles discovers this giant group of spider people that come in all different shapes and sizes. Men, women, cowboys, cats, a fucking T-Rex at one point. And yet these people still have the gall to say Miles can't be Spider-Man?
So one of the major conflicts in this film are people telling Miles what he can't do, what he shouldn't be allowed to do, that he's not a real Spider-Man. Was there any degree of that story that was meant to be a sort of commentary on the fans who don't see Miles as a real Spider-Man?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The idea of like canon and the
Rules and who
rules.
gets to be.
And Spider-Man, is it definitely is like a character that is owned by the audience, but some of that audience takes it so seriously and is trying to enforce and restrict who should be literally. I remember when Miles Morales comic book first came out, there were people who were rejecting Miles as a character, for their reasons, and but obviously not how we think it should be, and we wanted to talk directly to that and actually almost stick it to that mentality of anyone can wear the mask, and there is and if Spider-Man is a character that is owned by the entire world should be represented in that character.
Right.
Even Stan the Man himself always emphasized that whoever wears the mask is Spider-Man. End of debate.
You know one of the greatest things about Spider-Man's outfit, his costume?
What?
He is completely covered. So any kid could imagine he's Spider-Man because no color of the skin shows. He could be black under that, he could be red, he could be yellow, he could belong to any race. And that wasn't done purposely, it was done accidentally, but I think it was the best thing we did, making him so that he could be anybody under that costume.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
You really think the literal creator of Spider-Man would have said this if he didn't believe it? If the first movie was Miles putting on the mask, this movie is about him embracing it. He's telling everyone who doesn't believe in him that he's gonna do it, and he's gonna do it his way. I like that with the last movie focusing on his father. This time around, we get to see him interact with his mother more. That scene where they had the talk before Miles goes off on his mission is great. The talk that he has with his father as Spider-Man is also great. And I think a lot of that is because the pacing is so fantastic. Considering the fact that this is a part one of a two-part story, you can tell the writers just feel so free. They're able to give us these great character moments where they can just sit down and talk to each other like real people would. It's so satisfying that just about every single relationship from both the last movie and this one feel truly genuine. The action sequences are insane. From that building collapsing in Manhattan to the train chase with all the various different Spider-Men, the speed, the intensity, and just the sheer tension of it all. This is a movie that earns its PG rating. It's got swearing, the action is genuinely intense, there's a ton of talk of death and violence. Oh man, if the third movie ends up being PG-13, I will not be surprised. I don't think it will be personally, but if it does, then that tells you just how seriously they are taking this story. And the way it ends, oh god, I cannot wait 10 months for part 3. You guys can't do this to me! It's honestly really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling things, but I will hold off because this isn't just a movie. This isn't just a sequel, it's something you just have to see to believe. This is one of those rare instances where the sequel actually surpasses the original. And yet, considering how good the first movie was, Across the Spider-Verse is something I never saw coming. I was hyped to see it. I was expecting it to at least be good. Despite the high standard, I tried to be realistic. There's no way the sequel would live up to the first. And yet it did. And not only that, it surpassed it. It's actually better than the first movie, which was already a damn near perfect experience in itself. I thought nothing was going to surpass that scene where Miles jumped off the skyscraper, ripping the glass away as he took that leap of faith. But I don't know, man. There's something about that train scene where Miles decided he was going to tell his own story and do things his own way. It's got me unbelievably hyped for the next movie. If this movie somehow surpassed the already excellent first movie, then I can only imagine for now just how good Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to be. If you haven't yet, then please go see this movie. If you love the first one, then I can't even describe how you'll feel about this one. It's pretty much flawless. It's a rare 10 out of 10 movie that must be seen to be believed in. And I can't wait to see Miles finally fit into the mask. Eventually.